talking about, I threw out to you, would you rather have Erling Haaland, Marcus Rashford, or Mbappé? And, we went through that. Now, I hear your father was a little disappointed that we did not include Vinny in this conversation.
He was. Yeah. Again, the context, we were talking about a Manchester United game in which Rashford scored 2 goals, and he's been on this great run. And the way you framed it is, if this is the new normal for Marcus Rashford and he's leveled up and this is what he is now, do we need to start putting him in the conversation with Haaland and Mbappe, who everybody's identified as the big 2 for this next generation? And we debated that. And my father heard that podcast early in the day, then watched this Liverpool-Real Madrid game. And when we talked afterwards, he wondered, why wasn't Vinícius part of that conversation? What say you?
I would tell your father that I think the dramatic change in who Marcus Rashford is as a player right now is, like I said, much more dramatic and much more marked than that of Vinny. Okay, we've talked about Vinícius Júnior and what he can be, and you saw in that moment, that first goal, his ability to get the ball out of his feet, his ability to take multiple touches in a very short, compact space, and then to do all of the millisecond calculations to take all of those different snapshots and to still have the technical ability to curl that into the far post. I mean, that was beautiful. That is an elite player doing elite things. But I don't think that the way I think about Vinny Jr. now has not changed dramatically since last week and necessarily since last month. And I think it has, the perception, whether it's the reality or not, but the perception of Marcus Rashford has dramatically changed over the last month.
And by the way, Fox seized on that conversation. They put it out all over social media today, and you and I are getting lambasted on Twitter, but that's nothing.
Get in line. Get in line.
But right. A couple notes on Vinícius, if I may.
Okay.
I must admit I got this wrong. I did not think after his first 3 seasons at Real Madrid he was going to put it all together like this, and I'm not alone. There's a legendary Brazilian player, Tostão, who was one of the stars of the 1970 World Cup winning squad. He's now the most respected analyst in Brazil. And he wrote a column this morning, I read, doing his own mea culpa and saying, I got this wrong because I did not think Vinícius was going to turn out to be this good. And what's happened with this player in the last 18 months or so to go from somebody who had no end product to being as decisive as he is. He has 40 goals and 25 assists since the start of last season, so a little over a season and a half's worth of games. And again, I don't want to belabor this point, but this season, 9 goals in 10 games against non-Spanish opposition. He's also very good in La Liga and the Copa del Rey, but he's a bit more hit or miss there because there are days when the racism, the abuse, the toxicity that surrounds him does get in his head and knocks him off his game. He feels liberated when he gets out of Spain and plays in the Champions League or the Club World Cup, as we saw recently. I do think there is something to that.
Yeah, I think you're right, too. All right, so let's do it. Let's give your father what he wants. So if you can have now any of these 4, are you still taking Mbappé as number 1?
Yes.
Okay, me too. I think we're still there. Last episode we said number 2 was still going to be Erling Haaland for both of us, right?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, okay. All right. For me, it's Erling Haaland and then Marcus Rashford. That's the 3 right now. And if you're putting Vinny into the equation right now, it's real close, but I'm going to give Rashford the slight edge over Vinny. So that would be the 4 right there.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.